If you want to stop conceding goals on FIFA 23, I have got you covered. These tactics are insane. If you're tired of coming up against teams like this, you can get some foot coins through MMO EXP using the link down below. You can also use code JambooUK for 5% off. So I'm going to be showing you guys these 4-2-3-1 tactics, arguably the most popular formation in the game. These are going to help you a lot. They're defensively amazing. It is what I use when I want to switch to a more defensive formation to see a game out. Do me a favour before we do get into the video, guys. Please do hit a like. Let's try and hit 300. If you're watching and it does have less, do me a favour. Hit that like button. And remember to subscribe if you haven't already. One day with your help, maybe I can reach 100k. So this is the current team I am using. As you can see, we do actually have like 3 sort of midfield, centre mid players in there. I have primarily been using the 4-3-2-1, but luckily, due to Zidane being quite versatile, I can switch to this 4-2-3-1 setup, and it works very well. But we're going to talk more in depth in a little while about what sort of players you're actually going to be looking for in this setup. So like I said earlier, the main reason I'll switch to this 4-2-3-1 formation is to see out games. I've set this up to be defensively sound. It's not like you can't attack in it, but it's definitely more suited for seeing out a game and keeping the ball. So let's get into the tactics. As you can see, these are pretty negative. I can't lie to you, it's pretty negative. So you've got 50 on the depth, which is very deep. Your defensive line is going to drop back, and you're going to find that you've got a lot of defensive options, to mark passes and get the ball off of your opponent. Balanced on the defensive style. I wouldn't recommend drop back, purely because I think if you do switch that on, you just have absolutely nothing going forward, and it just makes it impossible almost to get out. So even though you do get more numbers behind the ball, I'd still recommend playing on balance. We do have 45 on the depth, which is very narrow. You're going to have your back 4 sitting very tight together with the 2 CDMs you get in this formation sat in front of those. 50 on the depth, as we say, very low. We do have direct passing. This actually helps for when we do win the ball back and we try to go on a counter-attack. It's going to push our players forward a little bit. You can also try experimenting with forward runs. That's not a bad shout either, but I prefer direct passing personally. We go for 75 on the width. The reason for this, I find, especially because we're using such a defensive setup here, having that width to pass out wide to on the wings, purely in a sense of just being able to get out of your defence and pass it to a winger, it offers a lot of support and it helps you be able to keep the ball more, because ultimately that's what you want in a defensive formation. You want to waste time, keep the clock ticking, keep the ball and be defensively sound. I've still got 7 players in the box, purely because I do still want to be able to attack. However, if you find that this is a bit too attacking for you, you can drop this down to 5, and that is still going to work very well too. It's just going to make it a little bit harder for you to actually attack. We've got 2 on the corners and free kicks. You can actually try taking that down to 1 as well if you have absolutely no intention of attacking and you just want to see the game out. In terms of who's going to go where, you can see this is how I set mine up. So someone like Zidane is actually perfect for this because he can actually sort of defend as well. So having your cam drop back and having a cam who can actually defend works very well for this. You can see I've got 2 sort of traditional players that you'd play at CDM, in any setup. We've got Pogba and Park. And then it's a pretty basic standard, FIFA lineup here. You don't need to do anything special. We've got Neymar and Griezmann. They're not the best defenders, but they don't need to be. They do their job. We've got Mbappe up front. And there's really nothing too special to this in terms of the personnel you need. You just need 2 good CDMs, 3 good attacking cams, your striker, and obviously a good back 4 as well. Your fullbacks are not going to get involved in the attack at all. So if you have more defensive-minded fullbacks, that works absolutely fine. I do like to have, at least a couple of players like Neymar, Griezmann, that are more flair players, dribblers, attackers, because when you actually want to play your way out of the back, you don't want all your players to be stiff, defensive, and not able, to offer you anything going forward. So I think that is quite important as well. In terms of the instructions, this is what makes this formation tick in a defensive sense as well. So we have stay central on the striker and get in behind, and this is super important because obviously we've got players, you know, set to come back and with using a deep line, all that sort of stuff. So having an outlet that's going to get in behind and actually offer us an option is super, super important, because otherwise you're just going to have nothing going forward and it's going to make it very hard for yourself. In terms of the 3 cams, I actually have all of them set to come back on defense, and what you find here is when the cam drops back into the middle of the CDMs, they're going to spread out a little bit and you're just going to cover more of the pitch, and that works really, really well. Essentially what you're going to have is it's going to be almost like a 4-5-1. You know, you're going to have your outside cams drop back, you know, just in front of the fullbacks. You're going to have your middle cam drop back in between the 2 CDMs, and you're basically going to be defending in like a 4-5-1, but then attacking in a 4-2-3-1. So like I say, you're going to have a lot of players back. We do have the outside cams set to get into the box, and the reason for this is just to get them going a little bit more. Like if you're on a counter attack and both your outside cams are set to get into the box, they obviously have to make a run to get into the box. So you're going to have a few supportive options there, even though it's not going to be anything crazy. For the CDMs, you want cut passing lanes, stay back while attacking, and cover centre. So literally at all times, you know, your CDMs, they're not going to get involved in the attack at all. They're going to just sit in front of the defence, block any passes, you know, mark any options in and around your box, and just sit in front of the defence. So you're going to have 6 defensive-minded players at absolutely all times, and this is a nightmare to break down, trust me, because especially when you think that we've got comeback on defence on the wide cams, where does the opponent actually break through? Because you've got the midfield covered in the centre, you've got a fullback and a cam coming back out wide, so everywhere around the pitch you've got defensive stability, which makes this so OP in defending. And it's why 4-2-3-1 is one of the most popular formations, because it's so easy to defend in, and then you also do have creative options with a 3 cam. So when it comes to the fullbacks, you're going to have those, of course, on stay back. That is what I'd recommend on the majority of formations, unless you're using, for example, a 4-3-2-1, which requires the fullbacks to get involved. But guys, I think you're going to enjoy these. Like I say, you can actually use these to start a game. I wouldn't be against that. You know, you can play a whole game with this. You're definitely going to be more of a defensive-minded player if you do so, but the main purpose of these tactics is to make sure you're seeing out leads and not conceding many goals when winning games. So I hope you did enjoy the video. Let me know down below in the comments your favourite formation. I'm interested to know. And if my tactics do help you, as always, I do really appreciate if you leave a like on the video. Do not forget to subscribe. I'll be streaming my weekend league FUT Champions this weekend as well, and hopefully we can get back-to-back 20-0s. But thank you for watching, guys, and peace.